So, Karl, what's your favourite type of car?
Fast. The Tesla Model S is, according to every metric used to judge the quality of an automobile, according to every test used to judge the quality of a car, a fucking fantastic automobile. Should we just leave that take in? Should we just leave that one in?
It's good.
It'll work. I'll try one more time. The Tesla Model S is, according to every metric used to judge the quality of an automobile, a fucking fantastic car. That one didn't sound right. I stumbled a little bit. Use whichever one you want, whoever edits this. I'm just going to drink my coffee.
It's not the easiest thing to say.
Why did I write that? Why did I write an easier thing? In 2013, a writer for the New York Times called John Broder decided that all this praise was giving the Tesla Model S a big head, wanted to take it down a few pegs in an article filled with lies that was almost immediately debunked by none other than Elon Musk himself.
So what is it in this story that Mr. Broder was claiming about the Tesla?
Yeah, we should get the facts out of the way first. So in this 2013 article titled "Stalled Out on Tesla's Electric Highway," Broder spent several pages shitting just all over the Tesla, making numerous claims about, its inconsistencies and reliability, such as it failing to hold a charge and ultimately clapping out by the side of the road, resulting in him having to call a flatbed truck to tow it away, an image of which he used as the header for the article, and has been used ever since then in motor blogs across the internet by people who don't like electric cars as an example of why they don't work as well as advertised.
So how much of what he was saying was actually bullshit?
All of it. Every single aspect of the article was pulled apart by Tesla, specifically Elon Musk in a blog post which broke down every single claim he made, because apparently unbeknownst to Broder, they had installed a piece of software onto the Tesla that logged every step of the journey. And it noted that at no point during his trip across the United States did the Tesla ever run out of charge. And in fact, when it was being loaded onto that flatbed truck, the one he said he had to call up because the car cut out and wouldn't work, it still had enough charge to continue driving. It just temporarily cut off power because Broder had apparently intentionally undercharged it at every single charging station he'd visited along his journey against direct advice from Tesla.
So what are the other inconsistencies in his article?
Well, one of the best ones is that he said, the car barely struggled to limp along at 45 miles an hour for, hours of his journey, when according to these logs, he spent the entire time gunning it and in fact had sped well above the speed limit for large legs of the journey. He also said that he had to turn off the internal climate control for the car to conserve power. According to those logs, he'd actually turned them all the way up. And perhaps the most telling thing of all is that the logs revealed that at every charging station he visited, he charged the car less and less. And Elon Musk would, in a roundabout way, say in a blog post breaking down these inconsistencies. I highly recommend anyone reads, there's probably quotes from below. I think it's called A Most Unusual Journey or something like that, where he just says, despite Mr. Broder claiming to only travel at 45 miles an hour, here's our GPS software saying he was speeding for 2 hours straight or something like that. He says, it seems to me that Mr. Broder was trying very hard to kill the Tesla to fit his narrative that electric cars don't work as advertised, citing articles Broder had written basically saying electric cars don't work. And it was in fact getting more and more annoyed as the journey went on when the car heroically refused to die.
So what was he trying to do to kill the car?
Well, one of the things that Musk noticed is that at every charging station he went to, he charged the car less and less. Often against the direct advice of Tesla or the dashboard, telling him, if you want to make it to the next charging station, charge for another 20 minutes. Fuck that. And then he'll claim later that he didn't see this. He didn't see the dashboard of the car. Well, you choose whether you want to believe that, folks at home. And another one is that at one point, the car's charge was on 0% and it still would not die. And he was in a car park with a Tesla charging port in it, and rather than going to the charging port, according to the journey, he drove around in circles for 20 minutes on 0%, to quote Musk, in an apparent attempt to kill the car. And when Broder was asked, how do you explain when you drove around a car park on 0% for 20 minutes? He went, I was just looking for a charging port. They're very hard to find.
They're luminous red.
They are, yes, and there's probably a picture of one behind me right now. So, yeah. That claim of they're very hard to find in the middle of the night when they glow and have the word Tesla written above them in massive fucking letters doesn't really hold much water for me, and I just like the idea of him driving around in a circle, not spotting this glowing red thing. So at that point, you probably shouldn't be driving because you are legally blind at that point. Yeah. They're specifically designed to be as obnoxiously bright as possible so you don't drive past them.
So why had they put tracking software on the car?
Yeah, that does seem like a bit of an invasion of privacy, so we should explain why this is the case. And it's oddly enough because of Top Gear. Because you've watched Top Gear, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you recall the episode with the Tesla?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Do you remember what happened at the end of the episode, at least?
I just remember Jeremy Clarkson just didn't want to drive it, didn't want to use it.
And he said it ran out of charge, and they put it onto the back of a lorry, and they drove it off saying, well, the future of electric cars doesn't look so bright, does it? And you might be thinking at this point, that sounds a bit familiar. And it was, because the car, again, had enough charge to continue driving. And Musk would note later that when he was on set, giving the Top Gear crew the car, he noticed that in the script that they were planning for the car to die for the bit. They had no intention of showcasing the car, like they wanted it to die. And the end of the episode was always going to be the Tesla being loaded onto the back of a truck and driven away, as Clarkson smugly said to camera, electric cars don't work. And they even took the BBC to court saying that this is fucking lying. You are lying to consumers by telling that the Tesla doesn't work. Jeremy Clarkson fucking lied about this car, and they got away with it by saying, well, the Top Gear isn't a fact show. It's supposed to be an entertainment show.
With Top Gear, you've got no reason to believe they'd lie, but...
Yeah, you can see it being entertainment, but the fact they would just lie about the car and what its performance was like and its capabilities. Presumably because Jeremy Clarkson doesn't like electric cars. Elon Musk was so pissed off, he said, anytime we're going to give this thing to a journalist, then obviously we don't know if they're going to give it a fair chance, so we're going to put this software in. Obviously Broder didn't know this. And when he wrote his article saying, again, oh, the Tesla's terrible, it won't hold a charge, it died, I had to do it. Elon Musk just went, oh, well, here, what are these? Are these receipts? Let's have a look through these, shall we now? It seems like you are full of shit. And just broke down every individual claim.
I'd just love to be a fly on the wall when Elon Musk just went to him, right, this is you driving around the car park for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, like a police drama or something, where the person sat on hot lights and they're going, the car just died. Really? Yeah. I went to a car park, I couldn't see a charging station. And then Elon Musk walks in and just slams the evidence down on the desk. Well, here's you. This is you, yeah? Oh, yeah, that's me. Here's you driving around in a circle for 20 minutes. How do you explain that? Well, I couldn't see the Tesla charging station. You mean this station? This one that's bright fucking red and glowing. This towering obelisk. This giant sign with the word Tesla on it. Well, I couldn't see. It was nighttime. They glow. And in that vein, another part of the journey that Elon Musk found particularly amusing was the final leg of the journey where the car finally gave up after, heroically refusing to die despite Broder's best efforts to kill it. And that was the final part of the journey where he was driving 61 miles to the next charging station. However, when he set off from the previous charging station, his dashboard told him he only had 32 miles of charge left. And the car drove for 51 miles, proving that it performed above expectations. And during that journey, Broder drove past a charging station. Not a Tesla one, but a generic charging station, while every single part of his dashboard was screaming that his car was out of power. And he claimed that that was the car's fault. Think about that. It's the car's fault that it died. When I tried... if this was a petrol car, and the guy went, oh, my petrol said empty and I tried to drive 60 miles and I drove past a petrol station on the way, it's the car's fault for not telling me.
That's ridiculous.
Think about that. And Broder stuck to his fucking gun and said, well, I didn't see it. And again, every part of your dashboard is screaming, we need power. And the thing that Tesla does is when that's happening, it will direct you to the nearest charging station you can get to. And it showed him on his screen and he ignored it and drove past it. For God's sake. And you say you want to be a fly on the wall when Tesla confronted this guy with this information. I want to be a fly on the window screen when this guy was driving down the motorway with the aircon blasting on full, driving with everything on his dashboard, just screaming in digital agony, please charge me, I'm dying, at 100 miles an hour. There's a charging station on his side. I can't see it. I don't know what's going on. And this guy is a professional car reviewer, and he blamed the car for driving it without having enough charge. It's so good. Think about that. Think about how fucking stupid that is. Oh, it's the car's fault for not warning me, despite the fact it warned him the entire time that what he was doing was wrong.
Just like the idea of the Tesla, please, just go there. It's right there.
It's directing him towards it and he ignored it. And he also said, oh yeah, customer service for Tesla, they were really unhelpful. Even though the customer service rep came out and said, I directed him to the nearest charging station and he ignored my advice. What am I supposed to do about that? And another one that I find funny is the guy said, oh, for the journey, the car was a bit chilly. And do you remember what I told you he did for almost the entire journey?
Had the aircon full.
Yeah, he blasted the aircon on full and complained about the car being cold. And said that, oh, this car's not suitable for cold weather. A fact I would like people to have a think about when I inform you and the audience that the leading market for Teslas is Norway.
Where it's just snow.
All the time. And the reason they buy it is because of its climate control and its ability to survive and drive in cold weather. And just as an aside, here is a clip of a Tesla driving through the frozen wastes of Minnesota. But yeah, this car apparently couldn't drive down, the East Coast in summertime without being too cold for some reason.
So after everything,
yes.
What was Broder's defence?
Oh, I did nothing wrong and all my facts are accurate.
What?
Yes. But at the same time, he also refused outright to acknowledge any of the discrepancies in his article or respond to... I think he did respond to Elon Musk, which said, oh, you're wrong. Despite him having literal GPS evidence of his entire fucking journey. And I think at one point another journalist got curious and followed his exact route in the same car and got to the end with 100 miles of charge left. And what I gather from that is that Broder was either lying or he's a fucking idiot. And I'm tempted to say the latter.
I'm going to agree.
Because if he honestly stood and said, I did nothing wrong, my article is completely accurate, and he drove a car that was just screaming at him to charge and ignoring it, and then drove past a charging station and then did donuts in a car park for 20 minutes while his battery said 0% while staring at a Tesla charging station and then blasted his aircon the entire time and complained about it being cold. I'm going to guess that doesn't sound like the smartest guy in the room. Folks at home, I implore you to, come to your own conclusions about this and decide whether or not you believe the journalist with a history of shitting on electric cars or irrefutable hard evidence from the electric car itself. Me personally, I'm inclined to side with the car because knowing Elon Musk, he would not have designed any car with the ability to lie. So this story is very hilarious and it gets even funnier if you pretend the guy was driving a normal car and and just say he had the exact same journey and the exact same complaints. Because think about how stupid you would think someone was if they said, I was doing donuts in a car park for 20 minutes when my fuel gauge read empty and then filled my car up only a quarter of the tank and then drove and it died and it's the car's fault. Because I'm just imagining a guy driving in circles on a car park and a fucking garage is there. Just this gleaming building with a giant fucking shell on top with petrol prices on it going, I can't see it. Like Mr. fucking Magoo in the car. So in that vein, what's the stupidest thing you've seen someone do in a car or the silliest mistake?
So the one that jumps to mind, I was with Nisha.
Okay.
And my lights were green. It was red the other way. And it must have been 10, 15 seconds. And then this car just sped through the red light. And Nisha doesn't swear very often at people. But when we caught up to this lady, we pulled alongside her and Nisha was there giving her the middle finger.
You fucking idiot. I think one for me will have to be when I was younger. And you know when you're a kid and you don't realise how dangerous stuff is?
Yeah.
It'd be my dad when he used to smoke, driving the car with his knees, rolling a cigarette.
What?
And then smoking the cigarette. Or eating a pasty and driving with his knees with all three of his kids in car. Or another one is when I was with my mum in the car. Again, all three of her kids in car. We go in and there's a humpback bridge. And we went over the humpback bridge. And obviously, when you go over a humpback bridge, you get the giggly feeling. It's like a roller coaster. My mum got about 100 yards down the road, noticed it was completely dead, turned the car around and just revved. As we all looked at the bridge and were like, oh, go on, mum, do it. And no word of a fucking lie, we went 60 miles an hour over an humpback bridge. And that Fiesta got airtime. We got air. And looking back, that's the most dangerous shit in the world. This is a mother and her children just trying to do Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift over a humpback bridge in the middle of fucking Bridlington or some shit. I would love to see what the police would think if they saw that and pulled her over.
I think another favourite of mine, and it's going to a TV show, is on The Office when Andy and Dwight fall out.
Oh,
so he gets lured to the bush and then he drives a Tesla below 5 miles an hour and just knocks him into the bush.
I think there's the thing in that scene that always slays me It's just how nonchalant, I think, is it Meredith, just says, oh, Andy's running Dwight over with his car. Just as if it's just an ordinary occurrence to witness. Just very slowly running someone over in a car. I think another stupid car thing that's I'm now thinking of is an old friend of mine. She's the first person in our friend group to get a driving licence. And so obviously she's the person who drives everybody around. Yeah. She didn't have a radio. She had a hole where a radio was. And every single time a mate of mine got in the car, she had like a little thing stuck to a dashboard. So you just pick it up and just put it through the hole where the radio was every single time. I remember once, she got so annoyed that she stuck it down with like one of those big rubber stopper things on the thing. And I was driving down the motorway. She loved this thing. Driving down the motorway, I wind down my window and it started bopping up and down. Oh, cool, look, he's dancing. She turns her head just in time to see it get sucked out the window at 100 miles an hour. And just like, no! It just flies out the window and presumably just smashes into a truck behind us. Like, oh no, I'm so sorry.
I think the most awkward encounter I've ever had was where you live, there's a little pub right on the next road.
Oh yeah.
And I'd booked a taxi. And as I left the pub to go outside and wait for a taxi, there was one coming up the road very slowly. And I were in the road, I just went, he'll stop, definitely. He drove into my legs, so ran into me, and then I looked at him like that, and he rounded his window down. I was like, what are you doing? He went, is it Adam? I was like, yeah.
Just nudged you in his car, so good. I'm imagining it's like in Grand Theft Auto or LA Noire, where you get nudged by a car and your character model just completely collapses. That stairs.
I'm just like, he'll stop. Yeah,
he's got to stop. He's getting fairly close, but he's probably got a good breath. His famous last words as the car just plows you into you. I didn't expect this. I don't know why I didn't expect this. It's like, I'm here in the road and he's just there being a taxi driver. What an idiot.
There was one prank you mentioned to me the other day, and I really want to do it.
Cheers.
Putting a condom on the exhaust.
Oh no, we talked about it before. It's so funny. Folks, don't do it. If you've got a mate with a car and you don't like them, or you want to take them down one or two, just get a Durex extra strength condom and duct tape it to the back of the car, like the exhaust, and it just blows up. And then just get a giant blimp-sized condom following down the street, and it explodes.
I just love to see one going past with this big bubble.
I have never laughed as hard in my life as when I saw just this car, this neighbour we didn't like, and there's this giant fucking penis. Boom, boom, boom. And then all you heard is this just god almighty explosion. Like 40 balloons going off at once. The guy slamming on, and then just getting out of his car. What the fuck was that? I think a close second of the angriest person in a driver. I'm going to mention this story, it's so funny. I used to get home before my brother from school.
Yeah.
And one day he just ran in and went, Karl, wait up. Chucked his bag on the kitchen floor, walked out into the garden, picked up a rock and waited. And we heard the ice cream van like, dun, 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 down the road. He went, threw a stone over our fence where you couldn't see, and went like that, and you just heard this, doof. And then you heard a guy go, what the hell was that, you bloody kids? And every day for a week he did that, because he'd spent an hour practicing how to throw the stone exactly where the guy liked to park. So as soon as he heard the music go off, so he'd run home from school to get there just as the ice cream man turned up. So the moment he parked up his car, a rock just landed on his roof. He stopped coming down our estate and my brother got really annoyed.
Well, he didn't even buy an ice cream.
No, it's one of those things my brother just went, Karl, why'd you do that? Doof. What a fucking shot. Oh yeah, don't drive cars down our estate. Our pastime was throwing rocks at trains. It was great. The best day a train go past carrying brand new vans. Oh, I'll tell you, there wasn't a single one of them vans that have a toshed window by the end of it.